And so without further ado, I would like to introduce our First Lady of the great state of Utah, Mary Kay Huntsman.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here with all of you. Thank you, Pamela, my dear, dear friend. This morning I said to John, 8 o'clock, I said, is anybody going to be up and on a Saturday morning? And I, looking out at this crowd, realized why you're here. And it's because it's such an important issue that would bring you out so early on a Saturday morning, and a very, very important subject we need to address. I'm happy to be here with Donna Rice, Donna Rice Hughes, who has come out with an incredible book that you're going to hear about in a few minutes. And the fact that she can talk about this so openly and freely, I think is going to help all of us today. It's nice to see my brother-in-law, Rick Durham, who I haven't seen in quite a while. In families, sometimes we all get so busy that we have to come to conferences like this to speak to one another, and it's nice to see you, Rick. In the last couple of years, it's been interesting. There have been 3 people in our workspace that I've spoken with who have gone through divorces, and they weren't married that long. All 3 of these girls, and they were divorced not by finances, not by in-laws, not by jobs, not by children, not by toothpaste caps, but by pornography. And it really was an eye-opener, as all 3, within a very short amount of time, told me their stories. And I just thought, this is real. This is something that is happening more than we can even imagine. And such a big reason of divorce today, I think, is over this one huge problem that we have. It's happening younger and younger, as Pamela just mentioned, 4th and 5th graders. And my daughter actually was babysitting a family one night, and one of the boys, who I think was 11 or 12, said, I need to go downstairs, my shows are on. She said, your shows? What shows? And he said, well, it's a little inappropriate. And she realized, went downstairs and saw that, he was watching something that wasn't appropriate, and the parents didn't know, and you realize how real this is. And this is a great family, and it can happen to anybody. The internet, as we know, is one of the greatest tech advances that we've had in the last 100 years, but it's also used in delivering pornography and directly into the rooms of our children. To put social networks into perspective, today with our children, Facebook's typical user is on a site an average of 169 minutes a month, compared to the average user of the New York Times website, which is 10 minutes a month. And my kids do Facebook. I think a lot of people have that network, but it can lead to more and more things, such as MySpace and the different things that happen so easily in our kids' lives. It's also leading, I think, to the mentality of my space versus our space. The irony of social networks is that our children learn to be isolated. Pornography may begin as something that is entertaining, but like any addiction, it can lead to devastating effects. It leads to abusive and less respectful relationships. The internet has produced some unique challenges that must be faced and dealt with. It's a growing concern in our state, as Utah ranks at the top for addiction to pornography, as we've just heard from Pamela as well. There are no laws and there are no rules in cyberspace. The controls are all internal. It comes down to one's conscience. We need to be positively productive, involved in service, where we don't have time to develop this addiction. And I think with our kids, a lot of times they have idle time on their hands, and I think by being productive in the community and always remembering the word service, getting out there and doing for others, keeps kids and adults from getting involved in such behavior. Whether it's an eating disorder or drugs or any addiction, generally it seems to be the symptom of something that's not quite right in our lives. We don't feel comfortable with ourselves, but pornography only makes things worse, because a problem that only the person knows is hidden. Control has to come from within. We can do all that we can to tell someone not to indulge, but all of us have the freedom of choice, and it comes down to self-control. Too many marriages are being destroyed today, but this one particular addiction This is one that I think is causing more than we can imagine. Would there be anything more embarrassing than to have your spouse walk in while one is viewing pornography? You don't want to find yourself hiding behind a mask. It's hard in today's world to be your authentic self, but that is something that we should all strive to do, to be true to who we are, as this must be a terrible burden to carry around in the back of one's mind, to be someone you can face in the mirror each day. Anne Frank once said, "How wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve themselves." Life is about striving, and it's about improving, and I think that's why we're all here today. It's a way that we can better address a very difficult addiction that far too many have found themselves ensnared in. Everyone in life has a weakness, and one need not be embarrassed to recognize that she or he may need some help. Nothing is sweeter than knowing you've overcome a formidable obstacle and are able to move on with your life in a more productive and positive way. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I know it's going to be a great day, and we'll all learn a great deal. Thank you so much.